My 15-year-old daughter handed me her phone at 3 a.m. Poland time. The screen glowed blue-white in the dark of my tent. 47,000 views. My wife's TikTok post. Marriage is a prison. I read it 3 times. 4. The words didn't change. I was on night patrol in Poland, NATO mission, 9th month of deployment. The kind of deployment where you count days backward and forward, where you FaceTime your kids before they go to school and after they come home, where you memorize the ceiling of your tent because you can't sleep, where you write letters in a green waterproof notebook every single night because you promised your daughter you'd never miss a day. And my wife posted on TikTok that marriage is a prison. The phone buzzed in my hand. Another text from Kaylee, my daughter, 15 years old, military kid, moved 7 times in her life. She knew how to pack a house in 3 days and make friends in 2. She knew how to smile for the camera at promotion ceremonies and how to hold the folded flag at memorial services. She knew what it meant when a car with dress uniforms pulled up to your neighbor's house. She knew things no kid should have to know. Dad, the text said, I need to talk to you. It's about Mom and Uncle Trevor. Please call me alone. Uncle Trevor, my younger brother, the one who never served, the one who always compared himself to me and came up short, the one I'd asked to help Vanessa while I was deployed because that's what brothers do. Brothers in arms, I'd said, even though he'd never worn the uniform, even though he'd chosen the contractor life, logistics, supply chain, the safe jobs on base that paid well and looked like service without the sacrifice. I'd asked him to hold down the fort. My hands were shaking. SSG Miguel Torres glanced over from his position. He could see something was wrong. In a platoon, you know each other's breathing patterns. You know when someone's phone call from home went bad. You know when someone just got the news that changes everything. I texted Kaylee back. Can you talk now? The response was immediate. Yes, are you alone? I stepped away from the patrol, found a corner of the compound where the diesel generators drowned out voices, pulled out my satellite phone. The call connected. Kaylee's face filled the screen, tired, crying, trying so hard to be strong. Dad, she said, and her voice cracked. I've been keeping track. I didn't know if I should tell you. I didn't want to worry you while you're over there, but it's getting worse and I don't know what to do. Sweetheart, slow down. Tell me what's happening. She held up her phone, that rose gold iPhone with the Mama V engraved case. Her mother's phone, or screenshots of her mother's phone. I could see the Instagram icon, the TikTok logo, the endless scroll of posts. Mom's been posting stuff, Kaylee said. At first it was normal. You know, day in the life of a military spouse, deployment countdowns, FRG stuff. But then it changed. 3 months ago, right after Uncle Trevor started coming around more. She swiped through screenshots. I watched my wife's face multiply across the screen. Selfies at restaurants I didn't recognize. Videos at bars with people I'd never met. Captions that made my chest tight. Sometimes you have to break free to breathe. Not all prisons have bars. Freedom feels like this. And then the one Kaylee had sent me first. Posted 2 hours ago. Vanessa at some downtown Colorado Springs bar, drink in hand, smile I hadn't seen in years. Marriage is a prison, and I'm done serving time. New beginnings, Goss leaving the past. 47,000 views, 3,000 comments. Half our church community had probably seen it, half the battalion wives, my commander, my soldiers. Kaylee, I said carefully, has Mom talked to you about what this means? My daughter looked away from the camera, 15 years old and already carrying weight she shouldn't have to carry. She doesn't know I know, Kaylee whispered. She doesn't know I've been saving the posts, screenshotting them. 47 of them, Dad. I have 47 screenshots going back 3 months. I organized them by date. I thought maybe I was crazy. Maybe I was seeing things that weren't there. But then she stopped, her eyes filled with tears. Then what, sweetheart? Then I saw the flag. My stomach dropped. What flag? Our flag, the deployment flag, the blue one with the red star that you hung before you left, the one that's supposed to stay up until you come home. Mom took it down. The combat deployment flag, 12 by 18 inches of canvas and meaning, blue service flag with white border and that single red embroidered star, brass grommets at the corners. The kind of flag military families hang in their windows so the neighbors know someone from this house is at war. My father hung one when he served. His father before him, 3 generations of Sullivan men, and we all came home to that flag in the window. When did she take it down? Last week, Tuesday. I came home from school and it was gone. I asked her where it was and she said she was tired of people asking when you were coming home. She said it made her feel trapped. So I went and found it. It was in the garage. In a trash bag. I pulled it out and I hung it back up. You did. Every day, Dad. Every single day. She takes it down, I put it back up. The grommets clink against the window frame when I hang it. Clink, clink. Like it's saying he's still out there. He's still serving. We're still a family. Her voice broke on the last word. I wanted to hold her. I wanted to wrap my arms around my daughter and tell her everything would be okay. But I was 5,000 miles away in a war zone, and my wife was posting on TikTok that our marriage was a prison and my daughter was fighting a daily battle with a deployment flag. Kaylee, what else do you know? She wiped her eyes, took a breath. This kid, this incredible, strong, military kid, pulled herself together. Dad, there's something else. Uncle Trevor, he's here a lot. Like, a lot. His truck is in our driveway when I get home from school. He stays late, really late. And yesterday, she stopped again. Couldn't say it. Yesterday what? Yesterday, Mom told Ethan to start calling him. She couldn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to, I understood. My brother, my wife, my 12-year-old son being told to call another man Dad. I texted back, Kaylee, what else do you know? 3 dots appeared on the screen, then disappeared. Then my phone went black, dead battery in a war zone. The generators kicked back on an hour later. I charged my phone, my hands still shaking. By the time it powered up, Kaylee had sent 17 more messages, screenshots, dates, times, locations. My daughter had been documenting evidence for weeks. She'd found a receipt in her mother's car, Pinewood Suites Hotel, room 312, $347. She'd taken a picture of it. She'd noticed Trevor's truck, that black Chevy Silverado with the contractor parking pass in our driveway 5 nights a week. She'd started writing down the times, a spiral notebook hidden under her mattress. Tuesday, 8 p.m. to 1 a.m., Thursday, 9 p.m. to midnight, Saturday, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. She'd overhead phone calls. Mom's voice behind the closed bedroom door, laughing in a way Kaylee said she hadn't heard in years. I know, Vanessa had said. Just a few more weeks. When he gets back, we'll already be gone. My daughter had been carrying this alone for weeks, while I was writing her letters every night in my Green Army notebook, telling her how proud I was of her choir performances and her grades and her strength. While I was leading patrols and training exercises and trying to keep soldiers alive in a foreign country. While I wore my wedding ring on a chain around my neck with my dog tags because regulations don't allow rings during combat operations. My daughter had been watching her mother destroy our family, and she'd been collecting evidence. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I asked when we reconnected. Because you're over there, Dad. You're keeping people safe. You're doing important things. I didn't want to distract you. I didn't want you to get hurt because you were thinking about home instead of the mission. 15 years old, and she sounded like a 40-year-old soldier. Kaylee, listen to me very carefully. You did the right thing. You did exactly the right thing. This is not your fault. None of this is your fault. You understand me? But what if I'm wrong? What if I'm just being paranoid? What if... You're not wrong, sweetheart. I need you to trust me on that. Because I'd been getting my own messages, things I'd dismissed, things I'd told myself were normal deployment stress. SSG Miguel Torres had mentioned seeing Trevor's truck at my house during odd hours. Thought he was helping Vanessa with something, Miguel had said. Didn't want to overstep. Lisa Torres, Miguel's wife and the FRG co-leader with Vanessa, had sent a strange text 2 weeks ago. Call me when you get a chance. Not urgent. Just call me. I hadn't called. I'd been busy. Missions and briefings and soldiers who needed me present. But Lisa had seen something. I knew it now. And then there was the thing I'd been avoiding. The thing I noticed but didn't want to name. Vanessa's FaceTime calls had gotten shorter. Once a day, then every other day, then twice a week. The excuses were always reasonable. Ethan had soccer, Kaylee had homework, she was tired from FRG duties. But her eyes had changed. She'd stopped wearing her wedding ring on camera. I'd noticed. Of course I'd noticed. But you tell yourself stories when you're deployed. You tell yourself your wife is stressed, not unfaithful. You tell yourself your brother is helping, not betraying. You tell yourself the flag in the window means what it's supposed to mean. Because if you let yourself believe anything else, you can't do your job. And if you can't do your job, soldiers die. So you compartmentalize. You file it away. You focus on the mission. Until your 15-year-old daughter sends you 47 screenshots at 3 a.m. and forces you to stop lying to yourself. I went to find SSG Torres as soon as morning briefing ended. He was checking equipment in the armory, that methodical way senior NCOs have where every movement has purpose. Miguel, I said, I need you to be straight with me. What have you seen at my house? He looked up, didn't pretend not to understand. Sir, I didn't want to... I'm asking you directly. What have you seen? He set down the rifle he'd been cleaning, wiped his hands on a rag. When he spoke, his voice was quiet. Your brother's truck, a lot, more than helping out requires. I drive past your street on my way to the commissary. The truck's there most afternoons, late nights too. I asked Lisa about it. She said Vanessa told the FRG that Trevor was helping with house repairs. But sir, Lisa said she's been to your house for FRG meetings. There's no repairs happening. What else? The flag. Lisa noticed the deployment flag was gone. She asked Vanessa about it at the last FRG meeting. Vanessa said it was in the wash. But Lisa drove by 3 days later and it still wasn't up. Then it was back up. Then gone again. Like someone was playing tug of war with it. Kaylee's daily battle, documented by someone else, witnessed. Miguel, I need you to pull base security records, gate logs for my address, visitor passes. Sir, I know what I'm asking. I need to know how many times my brother has accessed the base. I need dates and times. Miguel hesitated for exactly 3 seconds, then he nodded. Give me an hour. "53 minutes later, Miguel handed me a printed spreadsheet. Security office had been surprisingly cooperative once they understood what was happening. Apparently, protocol matters less than a soldier's family being torn apart. The page was covered in timestamps. Trevor Sullivan, visitor pass GVIT 2847, contractor ID badge GULC 8834, 87 entries in 6 months. 87 times my brother had driven onto this military base, scanned his badge, driven to my house, entered my home where my wife and children were. 87 documented visits. I traced my finger down the columns. Tuesday afternoons, every single one. That was my hospital visitation day. The day I volunteered at the VA hospital in Colorado Springs, visiting wounded soldiers. Vanessa knew my schedule better than I did. She'd helped me plan it. And while I was sitting with amputees and burn victims and soldiers with traumatic brain injuries, my wife and my brother were... I couldn't finish the thought. But the dates didn't lie. Tuesday, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., almost every week, like clockwork. And then the night visits, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., midnight, some visits lasting until 2 a.m. Gate logs documented when vehicles entered and when they left. My brother had been living in my house while I was in Poland. Sir, Miguel said quietly, your brother's living there. I stared at the paper. Each line was another piece of evidence, another nail in a coffin I hadn't known I was building. The spreadsheet smelled like government printer toner and betrayal. I forwarded the gate logs to Captain Rebecca Hartley, the JAG officer assigned to our battalion. She called me on secure line within 20 minutes. Captain Sullivan, these logs are concerning. Combined with your daughter's account and the photographic evidence she's collected, you have grounds for emergency family action. I need to be clear about something. You cannot abandon your post, but you can invoke emergency protocols. What does that mean? It means I can initiate an investigation. It means we can file for emergency custody arrangements. It means your children can be moved to a safe location while your deployment completes. But Marcus... She never called me Marcus. Always Captain Sullivan. The switch to first name meant she was about to say something bad. What? Your wife has access to a lot of information. FRG leader means she knows every family in this battalion. She knows when spouses are vulnerable. She knows who's struggling. She knows the command structure. If she wanted to, she could do significant damage to morale and readiness. You think she'd do that? I think someone who posts marriage is a prison with 47,000 views doesn't care about operational security or military family values. I think you need to move fast. I called Lisa Torres next, asked her directly what she'd noticed about the FRG finances. There was a long pause. Captain Sullivan, I've been waiting for someone to ask me that. Ask you what? Last month, I started balancing the FRG books. Care package program, you know. We collect money from families, buy supplies, send packages to soldiers downrange. Standard stuff. But the numbers weren't adding up. My chest tightened. What numbers? We collected $3,400 for care packages. I have the receipts. I have the sign-up sheet. 47 families contributed. But when I looked at the shipping invoices and the purchase orders, we'd only spent about $1,100. 23 families on the list never received confirmation their packages were sent. 23 families? Yes, sir. And 2 of those families, her voice cracked. 2 of those families are Gold Star families. Gold Star, the designation for families who've lost a service member in combat, killed in action. The most sacred category in military culture. We don't just respect Gold Star families. We revere them. Lisa, are you telling me... I'm telling you Vanessa collected money in honor of soldiers who died serving this country, and those packages never arrived. The money's gone, $3,400. And if you look at the timeline... She paused. The money started disappearing right when Trevor started showing up more. I closed my eyes. Felt the satellite phone heavy in my hand. Thought about my wife standing in front of FRG meetings with that laminated purple and white checklist. Professional, organized, trustworthy, her signature in confident blue pen at the bottom. We support our soldiers, the header said, and she'd stolen from them. From us? From Gold Star families whose sons and daughters were buried at Arlington. Lisa, I need you to take this to Colonel Brennan. Today, right now. This isn't just infidelity. This is criminal. I know, sir. I've been trying to figure out how to tell you, how to tell anyone, because once I say this out loud, there's no taking it back. Vanessa's going to lose everything. Your family is going to... My family is already gone, Lisa. She made sure of that when she posted on TikTok. But those 23 military families deserve their money back. Those Gold Star families deserve justice. You filed the report. Yes, sir. If you've ever felt that sinking feeling when a suspicion becomes proof, when you realize you weren't paranoid, you were right, just type proof in the comments. Sometimes knowing hurts worse than wondering. But at least you're not alone in it. I had to tell my father, retired Colonel Gerald Sullivan, 30 years in uniform, Silver Star from Desert Storm, the man who taught me what it means to be a soldier and a father, the man whose younger son had just betrayed everything he raised us to believe. The call didn't go well. Trevor did what? My father's voice went from conversational to commanding in 3 words. I laid it out. Gate logs, screenshots, hotel receipts, the deployment flag war, the FRG embezzlement, all of it. Silence on the other end. The kind of silence that's louder than screaming. Where is Trevor now? My father finally asked. I don't know, Dad. I'm in Poland. I'll find him. Dad, don't do anything. I raised 2 sons, Marcus. I taught you both what honor means. I taught you what family means. I taught you what the uniform represents. Trevor's going to learn what happens when you betray all 3. The line went dead. 6 hours later, I got a text from Kaylee, a photo. My father's truck in our driveway, Trevor's truck beside it, and my father, 64 years old, wearing his dress uniform with every medal he'd ever earned, standing on our front porch. The next photo showed police cars. The next showed neighbors standing in yards. The last one was a close-up. My father holding the combat deployment flag. The one Kaylee had been hanging and Vanessa had been taking down. The caption from Kaylee, Grandpa's here. He's taking care of it. Colonel Brennan called me into her office the next morning. She was at her desk in Germany, but the video call might as well have been a court-martial. Captain Sullivan, I've received a report from Mrs. Torres regarding FRG financial irregularities. I've also received a report from base security regarding your family situation. And I've received a call from local Colorado Springs police regarding an incident at your home involving your father and your brother. Ma'am, I can explain. She held up her hand. You don't need to explain. I've read the reports, all of them. I've seen the gate logs. I've seen the TikTok posts. I've seen the FRG accounting discrepancies. Captain Sullivan, your wife has committed fraud against military families. That's criminal. Your brother has engaged in conduct unbecoming at best and possibly criminal conspiracy at worst. And your children are caught in the middle of this while you're deployed to a combat zone. Yes, ma'am. I'm giving you a choice. My stomach dropped. In the military, when a commander says, I'm giving you a choice, it's never actually a choice. It's a decision with consequences either way. You can stay and complete this mission. 8 more weeks. Your platoon needs you. This unit needs you. NATO needs you. You stay. You finish strong. You come home with honor. Or you take emergency leave right now. I put you on a transport tomorrow morning. You go home. You protect your children. You handle this crisis. But Marcus, there it was again, the first name, the signal that bad news was coming. If you leave early, I can't give you this command when you get back. Someone else will take your soldiers. You'll be reassigned, probably a desk job, no more field assignments until the dust settles. Your military career as you know it, it changes permanently. 8 more weeks, that's all it was. 8 weeks to finish what I'd started, to complete the mission, to bring my soldiers home safely. But 8 weeks was also forever. 8 weeks of Vanessa and Trevor planning their exit. 8 weeks of Kaylee fighting the deployment flag battle alone. 8 weeks of Ethan being told to call another man Dad. 8 weeks of evidence disappearing, money being hidden, lies being solidified. Ma'am, what would you do? Colonel Brennan didn't hesitate. I can't answer that, Captain, because whatever you choose, you'll have to live with it. Stay, you're a good soldier who put duty first. Leave, you're a good father who put family first. But you can't be both. Not this time. Not with this choice. I thought about my Green Army notebook. 273 pages filled with letters to Kaylee. One for every day of deployment. Letters about honor and service and sacrifice. Letters about what it means to show up for the people you love. I thought about my father, 64 years old, putting on his dress uniform and driving to my house to defend my family because I couldn't be there to do it myself. I thought about the black titanium wedding band on the chain around my neck, the one I'd worn for 15 years, the one that meant I'm married, I'm committed, I'm loyal. I thought about my daughter hanging that deployment flag every single day. Clink, clink, the sound of someone refusing to give up. Ma'am, I need to make a call first. You have 30 minutes. I called Kaylee one more time. She answered on the first ring. Dad, sweetheart, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Okay. If I come home early, if I leave my soldiers and my mission and my command, are you going to be okay with that? Are you going to understand that I'm choosing you over my career? Silence. Then, Dad, you wrote me 273 letters, one every single day, even on days when you were on patrol. Even on days when I know you were exhausted, you never missed a day. You showed up for me every single day, even from 5,000 miles away. Her voice steadied, got stronger. Mom and Uncle Trevor, they were both here. They were both home, and they didn't show up. Not once. They just took things, took money, took trust, took our family. You can't take something from 5,000 miles away, but you can show up, and you did, every single day. She took a breath. So, yeah, Dad, I'm going to be okay with you coming home early, because you're not leaving your soldiers. You're coming home to your kids, and we need you. Ethan needs you. I need you. I wiped my eyes, tried to keep my voice steady. Okay, sweetheart, I'm coming home. I walked back into Colonel Brennan's office 22 minutes later. Ma'am, I need emergency leave, effective immediately. She nodded, didn't look surprised. Captain Hartley is already processing the paperwork. You'll be on a transport tomorrow at 0600. Your XO will take command of your platoon. They'll complete the mission and come home in 8 weeks. Yes, ma'am? Marcus, she paused. Your father called me this morning, before the police incident, before everything. He said something I thought you should know. What did he say? He said, my son died for this country. My grandson serves this country. I thought he was talking about you, but he wasn't. He was talking about his brother, your uncle, KIA in Iraq, 2006. I nodded. I knew the story. Uncle Patrick, my father's younger brother, the one we didn't talk about because the grief was still too raw. Your father said, I couldn't save my brother, but I can save my grandson's family. That's what brothers do. They protect what's sacred. Colonel Brennan looked at me directly. Trevor forgot that, but your father didn't, and neither did you. Go home, Captain. Protect what's sacred. I saluted. She returned it. Ma'am, one more thing. Yes? The FRG embezzlement. I need to know that's going to be prosecuted. Those families, those Gold Star families, they deserve justice. It's already in motion. Base commander has been notified. Criminal investigation is open. Your wife will face charges. I promise you that. I turned to leave, then stopped. Colonel Brennan, there was no good choice here, was there? She shook her head. No, Captain, there wasn't. Just different kinds of loss. The flight from Poland to Colorado Springs took 27 hours. 3 connections, military transport to Ramstein, commercial to Dulles, another to Denver, rental car for the 2-hour drive south. I didn't sleep, couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that TikTok post, marriage is a prison, 47,000 views, 48,000 now, 50,000. The number kept climbing. Captain Hartley had emailed me legal documents during the layover in Germany, emergency custody motion, temporary protective orders, financial affidavits, everything printed and signed and filed before I even landed. But Vanessa's lawyer had been faster. The email arrived when I was somewhere over the Atlantic. Subject line, urgent legal action filed. Vanessa had filed first. Emergency custody petition, full physical custody to mother. Supervised visitation for father pending his return from deployment. If he returns, her lawyer had written. If he's stable enough to parent after 9 months in a combat zone. They were using my service against me. The uniform I'd worn for 15 years, the deployments, the sacrifice, all of it weaponized into evidence that I was an absent father. The petition claimed I suffered from deployment-related stress, that I was emotionally unavailable, that I prioritized military career over family stability, that the children needed a present parent, not a deployed soldier. It claimed Vanessa had provided consistent, stable care throughout my absence, that she'd managed the household, led the FRG, maintained community connections, that she'd been the primary parent while I was overseas. It made her sound like Mother of the Year. It made me sound like a ghost who wrote letters but never showed up. The petition didn't mention Trevor, didn't mention the 87 gate visits, didn't mention the hotel receipts or the TikTok posts or the deployment flag war. It certainly didn't mention the $3,400 missing from the FRG Care Package Fund. Her lawyer was good. I'd give him that. The hearing was set for 8 weeks out, January 20th. The exact day I was supposed to come home from deployment anyway. They'd scheduled my custody trial for my homecoming day. I landed at Colorado Springs Airport at 11 p.m. Kaylee and Ethan were waiting with my father. The kids ran to me the second I cleared security. Kaylee hit me first, 15 years old and still young enough to throw herself into her father's arms. Ethan came next, 12 and trying so hard to be tough, but crying anyway. We stood there in the airport, soldiers and their families everywhere, some coming home, some leaving, some saying goodbye, some saying hello. We were somewhere in between. "Dad," Ethan said into my shoulder, "are you staying now? Are you really staying?" "Yeah, buddy, I'm staying." "Promise?" I thought about the promise I'd just broken to my platoon, the promise to see them through to the end. But I'd made another promise first. The day Ethan was born, the day Kaylee was born, before the army, before deployments, before everything else. "I promise, Ethan, I'm not leaving again." My father stood back, letting us have the moment. When I finally looked up, he was in his dress uniform. Again, same one from the photos Kaylee had sent. "Dad, why are you in uniform?" "Because someone needs to remember what honor looks like, and your brother sure as hell forgot." "What happened at the house?" "I'll tell you in the car. Kids, grab your dad's bag, let's go home." Except we weren't going to my home, we were going to my father's house, because Trevor had moved into mine. In the car, my father laid it out, clinical, military precision, like giving a sit rep. "I arrived at your house at 1400 hours yesterday. Trevor's truck was in the driveway. Vanessa's car was there too. I knocked. Trevor answered, wearing your PT shirt, your Army PT shirt with your unit insignia on it." Ethan made a small sound in the back seat. Kaylee squeezed his hand. "I informed Trevor that he needed to leave immediately. He refused. Said he lived there now. Said Vanessa had invited him. Said you'd abandoned your family and someone needed to step up." My hands clenched on my knees. My father noticed. "I removed your PT shirt from his person, physically. He attempted to resist." "I am 64 years old, Marcus. I have arthritis in both knees and a bad shoulder from a helicopter crash in '03. But I'm still a goddamn colonel, and he's a civilian contractor who never served a day in his life. He went down." "Dad..." "Neighbors came out. Base security was called. Local police arrived. I explained the situation, showed them the gate logs Captain Hartley had sent me, showed them the TikTok posts, showed them your deployment orders proving you were overseas while this was happening." "What did they do?" "They asked Trevor to leave. He refused again, so they escorted him off base property. I informed base security that Trevor Sullivan was no longer authorized as a visitor to your residence. His visitor pass has been revoked. His contractor badge is under review. He can't enter the base without explicit authorization from command." My father pulled into his driveway, killed the engine, turned to look at me in the darkness. I also informed Vanessa that she had 24 hours to pack anything she wanted from the house. After that, anything left behind would be considered abandoned property. She took the kids' PlayStation, her clothes, her makeup, left everything else. Where is she now? Don't know. Don't care. She's not in your house. That's all that matters. Kaylee leaned forward from the back seat. She's at a hotel, the Pinewood Suites, room 312. Same room from the receipt I found. Of course, the hotel room where she'd been meeting Trevor for months. Kaylee, how do you know that? She called me. Tried to explain. Said you'd understand eventually. Said she was in love. Said Trevor made her happy in ways you never could. Said she was sorry, but she had to be true to herself. What did you say? I hung up. Then I blocked her number. 15 years old and already making choices no kid should have to make. That night, I unpacked my green Army notebook. 273 letters to Kaylee, one for every day of deployment. I'd planned to give them to her all at once when I got home. A gift. Proof that even when I was gone, I was thinking about her. Now they felt different. Not a gift. Evidence. Proof of presence through absence. I sat on the edge of the guest bed in my father's house and flipped through the pages. The plastic coating crackled, pencil scratches on waterproof paper. October 15th. Kaylee led a patrol today through a village that reminded me of that mountain town we visited in Colorado. Made me miss you, miss home, miss the sound of you practicing piano, even the bad notes, especially the bad notes. Love, Dad. November 3rd. Kaylee, it's your birthday. You're 15. I can't believe it. Feels like yesterday I was teaching you to ride a bike, and now you're driving. Miguel showed me the video of you getting your license. You looked so happy. I'm sorry I wasn't there to take you. I'll make it up to you. I promise. Love, Dad. December 12th. Kaylee, Christmas is coming. I ordered your present 2 months ago. Should arrive next week. If Mom asks, act surprised. I know you're not great at acting surprised. Your face always gives it away. That's one of my favorite things about you. You can't hide how you feel. Don't ever learn how. The world needs more honest people. Love, Dad. January 8th. Kaylee, saw your choir concert video. Miguel's wife sent it to him, and he shared it with me. You sang Ave Maria like an angel. I watched it 3 times, maybe 4. Okay, 7. I watched it 7 times. Made my whole tent watch it. They all agreed, my daughter has the voice of an angel. I miss you. Love, Dad. 273 letters. And on the same nights I was writing these, Vanessa was posting on TikTok about prison and freedom and new beginnings. I closed the notebook, pressed it against my chest. The waterproof coating was cold. Kaylee knocked on the door, came in without waiting for an answer. Dad, you okay? Yeah, sweetheart, just looking at these. She sat next to me, took the notebook from my hands, opened it to a random page. March 15th, she read. Kaylee, missed your choir concert tonight. Miguel showed me the video. You sang like an angel. I'm so proud. Love, Dad. She looked at me, eyes full of tears. March 15th, that's the night Mom posted the TikTok, the one where she's at the bar with Uncle Trevor. Freedom feels like this. Remember? I showed you. I remember. Dad, you were in a tent in Poland watching videos of me on your phone. She was at a bar making videos about escaping you. Her voice broke. How is that fair? How is any of this fair? I pulled her close, let her cry. Wished I had an answer, but there wasn't one. Because it wasn't fair. None of it was fair. Sometimes people make choices, I said quietly, that hurt everyone around them. And there's no reason that makes it make sense. Your mom made choices. Uncle Trevor made choices. Bad choices. Selfish choices. But those were their choices, not yours. You didn't do anything wrong. But I knew. I knew for weeks, and I didn't tell anyone except you. What if I'd said something sooner? What if... No. Kaylee, listen to me. You were protecting me while I was deployed. You were protecting Ethan. You were protecting this family in the only way you knew how. You're 15. This is not your burden to carry. Then whose burden is it? Mine. It's mine now. I'm home. I'm here. You can put it down. She cried harder, relief and grief and exhaustion all mixed together. And I held my daughter while she cried and thought about the fact that in 8 weeks, a judge would decide if I got to keep doing this, keep being her father, keep being here. The next morning, I called Captain Hartley to discuss strategy. She'd been copied on Vanessa's custody filing. Marcus, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Her petition is strong. She's framing you as an absent parent who prioritizes military career over family. She's claiming the kids need stability you can't provide because of your service. She's using your own dedication against you. What about the affair? The embezzlement? We'll present all of that. But her lawyer is going to argue those are separate issues from custody. They'll say even if she made mistakes in her marriage and with FRG finances, that doesn't make her an unfit mother. They'll argue the kids have been primarily in her care for years during your deployments, and that should continue. Rebecca, she stole from Gold Star families. I know, and that'll be prosecuted separately, but in family court, the question isn't whether she's a good person, it's whether she's a fit parent. Those are different standards. So what do? We build our case. We show you're present now, even if you were deployed before. We show her betrayal affected the children's well-being. We show her choices created an unstable home environment. And we pray the judge sees through her lawyer's spin. That's it. That's our strategy. We pray. Marcus, family court isn't like military justice. It's not about who broke more rules. It's about what's best for the kids. And a good lawyer can make almost anything sound like what's best for the kids. Vanessa's lawyer is very good. I thought about Kaylee hanging that deployment flag every day, about Ethan being told to call Trevor Dad, about my daughter collecting evidence in a spiral notebook under her mattress because she didn't know what else to do. Rebecca, Kaylee wants to testify. Silence on the other end. She's 15. The judge will allow it if she requests it, but Marcus, are you sure you want to put her through that? It's not my choice, it's hers. She asked me last night if she could tell the judge what really happened. I'm not going to stop her. Okay? Then we let her testify, and we make sure she's prepared, because Vanessa's lawyer is going to cross-examine her. It's going to be brutal. Kaylee's tough, military kid. She can handle it. I hope you're right. 3 days after I got home, the scandal broke. Local news got wind of the FRG embezzlement story. Someone had leaked it. Probably base public affairs trying to get ahead of the narrative. Military spouse under investigation for embezzlement of care package funds. They didn't name Vanessa, protocol, but everyone knew. 300 FRG families, 800 battalion soldiers. Every single person knew exactly who they were talking about. By that afternoon, it had gone national. Military Times picked it up. Army social media, veteran Facebook groups. Army wife accused of stealing from Gold Star families while husband deployed. That headline, that goddamn headline. My phone exploded. Text messages, emails, Facebook messages from people I hadn't talked to in years. Most were supportive. Some weren't. Bro, I'm so sorry. Stay strong, brother. We got your back. This is why I tell my guys never to get married. Maybe if you'd been home more, she wouldn't have strayed. That last one, from a guy I'd served with in Afghanistan, a guy I'd trusted. Maybe if you'd been home more, like it was my fault, like I'd chosen to deploy, like serving your country was somehow selfish. I blocked his number, but the thought stuck, dug in like a tick. Maybe if I'd been home more, maybe if I'd paid more attention, maybe if I'd called more, visited more, been more present. Maybe. SSG Torres called me that night. I could hear the stress in his voice. Sir, I need to talk to you. It's about the mission, about the platoon. Miguel, I'm not your commander anymore. You don't have to call me sir. You'll always be my commander, sir. That doesn't change just because you're stateside. What's going on? The unit's divided. About you leaving. About the whole situation. Some guys think you did the right thing. Family first. But some guys think you abandoned us. Left us hanging 8 weeks before we rotate home. My chest tightened. What do you think? Sir, respectfully, you're not here. Your body's in Colorado, but your mind's with us. That gets soldiers killed. You had to leave. Anyone with half a brain knows that. But Marcus, he'd switched to my first name. That meant bad news. Some of the younger guys, they're scared. They're thinking, if my commander can get pulled home for family drama, what happens to me if something happens at home? Are they going to pull me mid-deployment too? It's messing with morale. What do you need me to do? Nothing, just know that it's complicated over here. We've got your back, but it's complicated. After he hung up, I sat in the dark of my father's guest room, thought about my platoon, 30 soldiers, kids, most of them, 22, 23 years old, doing a job most Americans couldn't handle, following orders from a commander who'd left them. I'd chosen my children over my soldiers. I'd make that choice again, every time. But that didn't mean it didn't hurt. That didn't mean I wasn't failing someone. Real question. Would you forgive someone who stole from fallen soldiers' families? Type never if you couldn't. Type maybe if you think people deserve second chances. This isn't hypothetical for me. This was my decision. And I want to know, what would you do? I see both in the comments. Here's what I learned. Forgiveness isn't about them deserving it. It's about you deserving peace. But that doesn't mean no consequences. Forgiveness and justice can coexist. 2 weeks after I got home, Vanessa called me. First time we'd spoken since I'd seen that TikTok post. First time I'd heard her voice in anything other than my nightmares. Marcus. Just my name, like we were strangers, like we hadn't spent 15 years building a life together. What do you want, Vanessa? I need to talk to you about the custody hearing, about everything. Your lawyer already filed. There's nothing to talk about. Please, just give me 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop in neutral territory. Not on base, not near my father's house. Somewhere public where I couldn't lose my temper. She looked different, lighter, maybe. Like she'd shed a weight I hadn't known she was carrying. Her hair was different, nails done, wearing makeup I'd never seen before. She looked happy. That's what killed me. She looked happy. Marcus, I know you're angry. Angry? I kept my voice low, controlled, military discipline. Angry doesn't even begin to cover what I feel right now. I know I hurt you. I know I hurt the kids, but you have to understand. Understand what? That you had an affair with my brother? That you stole from military families? That you posted on TikTok that our marriage was a prison while I was deployed? Which part am I supposed to understand, Vanessa? I felt trapped, Marcus, for years. Every deployment, every move. Every time you chose the Army over us. Every missed birthday, every missed holiday. Every time you weren't there when we needed you. I was drowning. And Trevor, don't. My jaw clenched so hard I thought my teeth would crack. Don't you dare make this about Trevor being there for you. He wasn't there for you. He was there to take what wasn't his. He loves me. He betrayed me. He betrayed his own brother. That's not love, Vanessa. That's opportunism. You don't understand what it's like being married to a soldier. Always being second. Always being left behind. Always I stood up. Couldn't listen anymore. I'm done, Vanessa. Tell your lawyer whatever you want. Tell the judge whatever story makes you feel better. But don't call me again. Don't try to explain. Don't try to make this my fault. You made choices. You're going to live with them. Marcus, wait. but I was already walking out. That night, Vanessa sent me an email. Subject line, "Something you need to know." I almost deleted it. Should have deleted it, but I opened it. "Marcus, I'm pregnant, 14 weeks. The baby is due in June. I thought you should know before it comes out in court. My lawyer is going to argue that I need stability for the pregnancy, that the children need their mother during this time, that I need to focus on my health and the baby's health. I know this is hard to hear. I know the timing is terrible, but it's happening and you need to prepare for it. Vanessa." I read it 3 times, 4. The words didn't change. Pregnant, 14 weeks, due in June. I pulled out my calendar, counted backward. October, mid-October, the same week I'd come home on mid-deployment leave. 2 weeks at home between month 4 and month 5. The only time Vanessa and I had been together since deployment started. The timeline worked. For me, the baby could be mine, or it could be Trevor's. Given the 87 gate visits, given the hotel receipts, given everything, my baby, maybe, Trevor's baby, maybe. I learned about this possibility during a night patrol in Poland, except I wasn't in Poland anymore, I was in Colorado. But it felt the same shock, the same uncertainty, the same feeling of the ground disappearing beneath your feet. My hands shook. I tried to call Captain Hartley, couldn't. My hands were shaking too badly. I couldn't hold the phone steady. The next morning, Rebecca Hartley called me back. I'd left a voicemail at 2 a.m. that probably sounded unhinged. "Marcus, breathe. Tell me what happened." I told her about the email, the pregnancy, the timeline, the uncertainty. "Okay," she said calmly. "Okay, this is manageable. We'll request a paternity test. Standard procedure in contested custody when paternity is questionable. The test can be done before the baby is born or after. Given the hearing date is before the due date, we'll probably wait until after." "What if it's Trevor's baby?" "Then you're not financially responsible for it, and it strengthens our case that Vanessa's relationship with Trevor created an unstable environment for Kaylee and Ethan." "What if it's my baby?" "Then you have parental rights, and it strengthens our case that you should have primary custody of all 3 children. 3 children. The words sounded foreign, like a language I didn't speak. I'd left for deployment with 2 kids. I was coming home with maybe 3, or maybe still 2. Schrodinger's baby, simultaneously mine and not mine until observed by paternity test. "Marcus, I need you to stay focused. The custody hearing is in 6 weeks. We have work to do, depositions, evidence gathering, witness preparation. We need to build an airtight case." "Rebecca, I'm falling apart." "I know, but you're a soldier. You know how to function when falling apart. You've done it before. You'll do it now. For Kaylee, for Ethan, for that maybe baby who might be yours. You don't get to fall apart until after we win." She was right. I hated that she was right, but she was. "Okay, what do you need from me?" "Everything. Every email, every text message, every piece of evidence Kaylee collected, hotel receipts, TikTok posts, gate logs, bank statements. Trevor's wife, Rebecca Callahan, she's willing to be a witness. She found evidence on Trevor's end, text messages, plans. Trevor bragging to co-workers about upgrading his life. We're building a timeline. We're going to bury them in evidence. Good. And Marcus, your father wants to testify too. He wants to tell the judge what he saw, what he did, the deployment flag story, the whole thing." I thought about my father, 64 years old, putting on his dress uniform and defending my family because I couldn't be there. "Tell him thank you. Tell him yourself. He's coming over today to help with prep." Rebecca Callahan, Trevor's wife, came to my father's house 3 days later. I'd never met her before. Trevor had married her 2 years ago. Second marriage for both of them. No kids together. She was 33, accountant, quiet. The kind of person who notices details. The kind of person who'd noticed her husband was having an affair. Captain Sullivan, she said when I opened the door, I'm so sorry. I should have told you sooner. I should have. You don't need to apologize. None of this is your fault. I found the messages 6 months ago. Text messages between Trevor and Vanessa. I didn't know what to do. You were deployed. I didn't want to believe it. I kept thinking maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was reading too much into it. What did the messages say? She pulled out her phone, opened a folder labeled Evidence, scrolled through screenshots. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. M is at the hospital all afternoon. That's from Vanessa. M is you. Marcus, she called you M, like you were an inconvenience, a schedule conflict. She scrolled more. When he gets back, we'll already be gone. He can't fight from Poland. That's from Trevor, planning your whole life while you were overseas. Another scroll. I love you. I've never felt this free. This is what happiness feels like. From Vanessa. Posted the same day she led an FRG meeting about supporting deployed soldiers. Rebecca looked up at me. Her eyes were red. I'm so sorry. I know those words don't mean anything, but I'm sorry. Trevor told me he was helping you, that you'd asked him to check on Vanessa and the kids, that he was being a good brother. I believed him. I'm such an idiot. You're not an idiot. You're a person who trusted her husband. That's not a character flaw. It feels like one. We sat in silence for a moment. Rebecca, why are you helping me? You could just walk away, divorce Trevor quietly, move on. Because I know what it feels like when everyone chooses not to tell you the truth, because it's uncomfortable, because it's easier to pretend everything's fine, because they don't want to get involved. 6 months, Captain Sullivan. I knew for 6 months. And I said nothing. I'm not making that mistake again. She handed me a flash drive. Everything's on here. Text messages, credit card statements showing hotel charges, Trevor's Google location history showing 87 trips to your house, emails to coworkers bragging about his new life. Everything. Use it. Destroy him in court. He deserves it. After she left, I plugged in the flash drive, opened the files. There were hundreds of them, screenshots, bank records, location data, a complete digital autopsy of my brother's betrayal. One file was labeled audio. I clicked it. Rebecca's voice. Trevor, whose shirt is that? Trevor's voice. What? This? It's just a PT shirt. It has Marcus's name on it. It has his unit insignia. Trevor, why do you have your brother's army shirt? Vanessa gave it to me. She said he wouldn't miss it. He's deployed, Trevor. He's in Poland. Of course he's going to miss it. He doesn't need it. He's got like 20 of them. That's not the point. Rebecca, drop it. I'm helping out. That's all. Marcus asked me to help. Did he ask you to wear his uniform? Silence. Then, you don't understand what it's like. Always being compared to the hero brother, the soldier, the one Dad's proud of. All my life, it's been Marcus this, Marcus that. Marcus got promoted, Marcus deployed, Marcus saved lives. What about me? I work hard, I make good money. But it's never enough. I'm never enough. Well, now I have what he has. I have his wife. I have his kids calling me dad. I have his life. And you know what? I'm better at it than he ever was. The audio cut off. I sat in the dark, listened to my brother's voice confessing everything. He didn't take Vanessa because he loved her. He took her because she was mine. Because in his twisted logic, stealing my wife made him better than me. My hands were shaking again, but not from shock this time, from rage. The custody hearing was set for January 20th, 8 weeks from the day I'd gotten that 3 a.m. text from Kaylee. 8 weeks of preparation, evidence gathering, depositions, witness interviews. 8 weeks of living in my father's guest room because Trevor had moved into my house and Vanessa was at the Pinewood Suites and my kids were bouncing between locations like refugees. 8 weeks of Ethan wetting the bed from stress and Kaylee having nightmares and me pretending I had any idea what I was doing. 8 weeks of being home but not really home, of being a father but not really being able to father, of watching my children hurt and not being able to fix it. Captain Hartley had prepared me. Family court isn't like military justice, she'd said. It's not clean. It's not about right and wrong. It's about what the judge thinks is best for the kids. And sometimes judges get it wrong. That's supposed to make me feel better? No, it's supposed to prepare you for the possibility that even with all our evidence, we might lose. Vanessa's lawyer is going to paint her as a devoted mother who made mistakes in her marriage but never in her parenting. They're going to paint you as an absent father who chose military career over family. They're going to make this about your deployment, not her betrayal. So we just hope the judge sees through it. We present the truth, and we trust that the truth matters. The night before the hearing, I couldn't sleep. Sat in the dark with my Green Army notebook. Flipped through 273 letters. Wondered if they'd be enough. Wondered if I'd be enough. The courthouse in Colorado Springs was gray concrete and fluorescent lights. The kind of building designed to strip away emotion and reduce human suffering to docket numbers and case files. Family Court, Division 3, Judge Catherine Martinez presiding. I wore my dress uniform, not because I was trying to make a statement, because it was the only formal clothing I had that still fit after 9 months of deployment rations and stress. Vanessa wore a conservative blue dress, pearls, hair pulled back, the picture of respectability. Nothing like the woman in those TikTok videos, nothing like the woman who'd posted marriage is a prison at 2 a.m. Trevor wasn't there, restraining order. He'd been served 3 weeks ago. Couldn't come within 500 feet of me or the children. Captain Hartley had made sure of that. But his presence hung over the courtroom anyway. The invisible third party in our divorce. My father sat in the gallery, dress uniform. Every medal he'd ever earned. 64 years old and sitting at attention like he was about to brief a 4-star general. Kaylee and Ethan were in a separate waiting room with a court-appointed child advocate. They'd testify later, if the judge allowed it. The bailiff called the court to order. Judge Martinez entered, 50-something. Former military lawyer herself, according to Captain Hartley. That could work in our favor, or against us. Hard to say. This is the matter of Sullivan versus Sullivan, the judge said. Petition for emergency custody modification. Both parties present. Let's begin. Vanessa's lawyer stood first. His name was Richard Chen. Expensive suit, silver hair, the kind of lawyer who charged $500 an hour and earned every penny. Your Honor, this case is about stability. Mrs. Sullivan has been the primary caregiver for these children throughout their lives. She's been present, consistent, available, while Captain Sullivan has served our country admirably, and we thank him for his service. He's been absent for significant portions of his children's lives. 9 deployments over 15 years. That's nearly 4 years of cumulative absence. Chen pulled out a chart. Visual aids. Of course he had visual aids. The children know their mother. They've built their routines around her presence. Yes, Mrs. Sullivan made mistakes in her marriage. She's admitted that. She's taken responsibility for her actions, but her relationship with Captain Sullivan has no bearing on her relationship with her children. She's been a devoted mother, present every day, while Captain Sullivan... Objection, Your Honor. Captain Hartley stood. Counsel is mischaracterizing Captain Sullivan's military service as voluntary absence. Deployment is not abandonment. It's service to our nation. Sustained, Mr. Chen. Rephrase. Of course, Your Honor, let me be clear. We respect Captain Sullivan's service, but we must also acknowledge that military life creates challenges for children. Frequent moves, parental absence, stress. The children have adapted to a life where their mother is the constant. That stability should continue. Chen sat down, smug, like he'd already won. Captain Hartley stood. She'd worn her service uniform too, captain's bars, Judge Advocate General's insignia. Your Honor, Mrs. Sullivan's lawyer wants to focus on presence. Let's talk about what Mrs. Sullivan was present for. She was present while engaging in an extramarital affair with her husband's brother. She was present while embezzling $3,400 from military families, including Gold Star families. She was present while posting on social media that her marriage was a prison. She was present while telling her 12-year-old son to call another man Dad. This is the stability opposing counsel is defending. Rebecca pulled out her own visual aids, printed screenshots, bank records, gate logs. Captain Sullivan may have been physically deployed, but he was emotionally present. He wrote his daughter letters every single day. 273 letters over 9 months. He maintained daily contact. He showed up in every way he could from 5,000 miles away. Meanwhile, Mrs. Sullivan, who was physically present, emotionally abandoned her children for an affair. Rebecca held up the FRG checklist, that laminated purple and white document. This is evidence of criminal fraud. 23 military families never received care packages they paid for. 2 of those families are Gold Star families. Mrs. Sullivan collected money in honor of fallen soldiers and spent it on hotel rooms with her lover. If that's the kind of presence opposing counsel is defending, I'd argue absence is preferable. Judge Martinez looked tired already, and we'd only been in session for 20 minutes. Both counsels make compelling arguments. I want to hear from the children, especially the minor most affected. Bring in Kaylee Sullivan. The bailiff opened the side door. Kaylee walked in, 15 years old in a simple gray dress, hair pulled back, no makeup. She looked younger than she was, and older, both at the same time. The court reporter swore her in. Kaylee's hand shook on the Bible. Miss Sullivan, Judge Martinez said gently, I know this is hard, but I need to hear from you. In your own words, what do you want? Kaylee looked at me, then at her mother, then at the judge. I want to live with my dad. Simple, direct, no hesitation. Can you tell me why? Because he tells the truth, even when it hurts, even when it's hard. He tells the truth. And your mother doesn't? My mother posted on TikTok that marriage is a prison. She said that while my dad was in Poland protecting people. She said that while he was writing me letters every night. She said that while she was sleeping with his brother. Vanessa's lawyer stood. Objection, the child is overruled. Miss Sullivan is 15. She's allowed to express her observations. Continue, Kaylee. My daughter pulled out a folder, organized, prepared, military kid to the core. I have evidence. I've been collecting it for months. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know if I should show anyone. But then Dad came home and I realized sometimes the truth is the only thing that matters. She opened the folder, pulled out my Green Army notebook, the one with CPT Sullivan written in Sharpie on the cover. This is Dad's deployment journal. He wrote me letters every day. He gave it to me when he got home. I want to read one. Is that okay? Judge Martinez nodded. Go ahead. Kaylee opened to a marked page. Her voice was steady. March 15th. Kaylee, missed your choir concert tonight. Miguel showed me the video. You sang like an angel. I'm so proud. Love, Dad. She closed the notebook, pulled out her phone. Her mother's rose gold iPhone screenshots projected on the courtroom screen. This is Mom's TikTok post from March 15th, 11 p.m. The image filled the screen. Vanessa at a bar, drink in hand, Trevor's arm around her waist. Caption, freedom feels like this. Marriage is prison. The courtroom was silent. Kaylee's voice cracked. He was in a tent in Poland, watching videos of me on his phone. She was at a bar, making videos about escaping him. She pulled out another entry. April 2nd. Kaylee, your birthday is next week. You're turning 15. I ordered your present 2 months ago. Should arrive tomorrow. I'm sorry I can't be there to give it to you in person, but know that I'm thinking about you. Every minute, love, Dad. Another TikTok screenshot. April 2nd, 1:47 a.m. Vanessa and Trevor at the Pinewood Suites. Selfie in the hotel room mirror. Caption: sometimes you have to break free to breathe. Square new beginnings. She was at a hotel with his brother on my birthday. Kaylee's hands were shaking now, but she kept going. May 10th. Kaylee, I miss you. I miss home. I miss the sound of you practicing piano. Even the bad notes, especially the bad notes. I know this deployment has been hard. I know you've been carrying a lot. I'm so proud of you. You're stronger than you know. Love, Dad. Another screenshot. May 10th, 11:23 p.m. Not all prisons have bars. Some have wedding rings. Inner truth, Namish freedom. Kaylee looked up at the judge, tears streaming down her face. I have 47 of these. 47 times my dad wrote about loving us, missing us, being proud of us. And 47 times my mom posted about escaping us, about being trapped, about wanting freedom. She closed the folder. You asked me what I want, Your Honor. I want to live with the parent who never stopped showing up, even from 5,000 miles away, even when it was hard, even when he had to choose between his career and his family. He chose us. She didn't. Vanessa was crying now, silent tears running down her face. Miss Sullivan, Judge Martinez said quietly, did your mother mistreat you, neglect you, abuse you in any way? No, Your Honor, she fed us. She took us to school. She made sure we did our homework. She was physically present. Then why? Because being physically present isn't the same as showing up. She was there, but she wasn't there for us. She was there for herself, for Uncle Trevor, for her TikTok followers. She performed being a military spouse. She performed being a mother, but it was all performance. Kaylee turned to look at Vanessa directly. You posted that marriage is a prison, but the prison wasn't the marriage, Mom. The prison was the lie. And you held the key the whole time. You could have been honest. You could have gotten a divorce before having an affair. You could have not stolen from Gold Star families. You could have not told Ethan to call Uncle Trevor Dad. You had choices. You made bad ones. She looked back at the judge. Dad was in a war zone. He didn't have choices. He had orders. He had duty. He had soldiers depending on him, but he still chose to show up for us every single day in the only way he could, through letters, through FaceTimes, through love that didn't depend on being in the same room. Kaylee's voice steadied, got stronger. So yeah, Your Honor, I want to live with my dad because he's the only parent I have who tells the truth. The courtroom was silent. Judge Martinez was writing notes. Vanessa's lawyer looked like he'd been hit by a truck. Captain Hartley was expressionless, but I could see the tension in her shoulders releasing. Thank you, Miss Sullivan. You may step down. Kaylee walked past her mother without looking at her, sat next to me in the gallery. I put my arm around her. She buried her face in my shoulder. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. You have nothing to be sorry for, sweetheart. Nothing. You told the truth. That's all you did. The bailiff approached Judge Martinez, handed her an envelope, white medical paper, LabCorp logo. Your Honor, Captain Hartley said, that's the paternity test results for the unborn child. We expedited the testing. Chen stood. Your Honor, we object to the admission of... Overruled. I ordered this test. I want to know paternity before I make custody determinations. The judge opened the envelope. Read the contents. Her expression didn't change. The test shows 99.9% probability of paternity. Captain Marcus James Sullivan is the biological father of the unborn child. The air went out of the room. I heard Vanessa gasp, heard Chen shuffle papers frantically, heard my father's sharp intake of breath behind me. The baby was mine, not Trevor's. Mine. Judge Martinez looked at Vanessa. Mrs. Sullivan, you allowed your lawyer to imply that paternity was uncertain. You allowed opposing counsel to believe the child might be your lover's. You allowed this court to operate under false pretenses. Why? Vanessa stood, shaking. Your Honor, I didn't know. I wasn't sure. You weren't sure because you were sleeping with two men during the same time period, your husband and his brother. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. And you collected money from military families, including Gold Star families, and used it to fund your affair. Is that correct? Your Honor, I made mistakes. I'm not... Answer the question. Did you embezzle $3,400 from the family readiness group? Vanessa's lawyer put his hand on her arm, whispered something. Your Honor, on advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right. You can invoke whatever you want in criminal proceedings, but this is family court, Mrs. Sullivan, and your silence speaks volumes. Judge Martinez closed the file in front of her. I've heard enough. I'm ready to rule. The judge's ruling took 4 minutes, but it felt like seconds or hours. Time had no meaning anymore. This case requires me to weigh competing interests. On one hand, stability and consistency. On the other hand, character and honesty. Mrs. Sullivan's lawyer argues that physical presence creates stability. Captain Sullivan's lawyer argues that emotional integrity creates security. Both are correct. Both matter. Judge Martinez looked at both of us. But when I factor in Mrs. Sullivan's extramarital affair with her husband's brother, her embezzlement of funds from military families, her public social media posts disparaging her marriage while her husband was deployed, and most importantly, the testimony of a mature, articulate 15-year-old who clearly understands the situation, I cannot conclude that Mrs. Sullivan provides the stability these children need. Vanessa's face went white. Therefore, I award primary physical custody of Kaylee Rose Sullivan, age 15, and Ethan James Sullivan, age 12, to Captain Marcus James Sullivan. I award primary physical custody of baby girl Sullivan, to be born in June 2026, to Captain Marcus James Sullivan, contingent on completion of paternity testing post-birth, which I expect will confirm these results. The gavel struck, that sharp crack of wood on wood, the sound of justice, or something close to it. Mrs. Sullivan will have supervised visitation, 2 visits per week, 2 hours per visit, supervised by a court-appointed monitor. This arrangement will continue until Mrs. Sullivan completes a parenting course, completes therapy addressing her behavioral patterns, and makes full restitution to the family readiness group families she defrauded. Another gavel strike. Additionally, I am issuing a restraining order against Trevor Sullivan. He is not to have any contact with the minor children. No phone calls, no letters, no social media contact. Violation of this order will result in immediate arrest. Vanessa was crying now, sobbing. Her lawyer had his hand on her shoulder, but she was shaking him off. She looked at Kaylee, one last time, trying to make eye contact, trying to connect. Kaylee looked away, and that's when Vanessa understood. She'd lost more than a custody battle. She'd lost her daughter's respect, and that, unlike a custody arrangement, couldn't be won back with a lawyer. Outside the courthouse, January sun was blindingly bright, cold air, blue sky, the kind of day that feels like a beginning. My father stood on the courthouse steps in his dress uniform. Kaylee and Ethan flanked him, waiting for me. Captain Hartley shook my hand. Congratulations, Marcus. You won. Did I? Feels like everyone lost. Your kids didn't lose. They got their father. That's a win. She walked away, left me standing there with my family, what was left of it. Kaylee grabbed my hand. Dad, can we go home now? Yeah, sweetheart, let's go home. Except we couldn't go to my house because Trevor had been living there for weeks, and the whole place smelled like betrayal and regret. We'd have to clean it out, reclaim it, make it ours again. But first, we just needed to breathe. 1 year later, November 2026. I'm not going to tell you that everything magically healed. That time fixed all wounds and we all lived happily ever after. Because that's not how real life works. That's not how trauma works. Vanessa completed her parenting course, completed therapy, made restitution to the FRG families. Took her 3 years to pay it all back with interest, but she did it. Started rebuilding her relationship with the kids, slowly, carefully, with supervision that eventually became unnecessary. She's not the villain of this story anymore. She's just a person who made catastrophically bad choices and is trying to make amends. Some days I can almost forgive her. Some days I can't. Both are okay. Trevor never apologized, never reached out, never acknowledged what he'd done. Last I heard, he'd moved to Texas. New job, new life, new woman probably. Some people don't learn. Some people don't want to. But here's what did heal. Kaylee started singing again. Really singing. Not performing, but feeling. She joined a community choir, non-military, just regular people making music together. She says it helps. Ethan stopped wetting the bed. Started sleeping through the night. Started calling me dad again without that confused look in his eyes. Started being 12 again instead of carrying adult trauma. And the baby, my baby, Emma Rose Sullivan, was born in June. Healthy, perfect. 10 fingers, 10 toes, lungs like a drill sergeant. Vanessa gets supervised visits twice a week. Emma doesn't know the story yet. Maybe one day she will. Maybe she won't. That's a bridge we'll cross when we get there. As for me, I took a non-deploying position, training command. I teach young officers how to lead soldiers, how to make impossible choices, how to balance duty and family. I tell them what I learned. Sometimes you can't balance. Sometimes you just have to choose. And I chose my kids. I'd make that choice again every time, even knowing what it cost. Today, Kaylee and I are hanging the flag, the new one. We're in our house now, my house. My father helped us clean it out after the custody hearing, scrubbed every room, replaced the mattress in the master bedroom, painted over the walls, made it ours again. The deployment flag has 3 stars now, blue stars, one for Kaylee, one for Ethan, one for Emma. I hold the flag while Kaylee climbs the step stool. She hooks the grommets onto the window frame. That familiar sound, clink, clink, the sound of a family showing up for each other. Looks good, kiddo, I say. Yeah, it does. The canvas catches the November wind. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That distinctive flapping sound. The neighbors can see it. The whole street can see it. Someone from this house served. Someone from this house came home. Someone from this house remembered what mattered. Inside, I've hung the Green Army notebook on the wall. Shadow box, glass front. CPT Sullivan visible on the cover. 273 letters, 273 days of showing up from 5,000 miles away. Not hidden in a drawer, not forgotten, honored, displayed. Part of our story. The titanium wedding band is on a chain in my drawer now. I don't wear it anymore, but I kept it. Not for Vanessa, for me. As a reminder that some promises get broken, and that's okay. You survive, you rebuild, you make new promises, I make breakfast. Kaylee sets the table. Ethan comes downstairs with Emma. He's surprisingly good with babies. My father shows up with groceries because he does that now. Shows up unannounced with food and help and presents. We're not the family I thought I'd have. We're broken and rebuilt and full of scars. But we're real. We're true. We're here. And I learned something through all of this. Something about what brothers in arms really means. It's not about blood. It's not about uniforms. It's not about battlefields. It's about who shows up when it matters, when it's hard, when there's nothing to gain and everything to lose. My brother, my blood brother, didn't show up. He showed up to take, to steal, to destroy. But my soldiers showed up, Miguel Torres, making sure my family was okay while I was deployed. My father putting on his dress uniform and fighting my battles when I couldn't. Lisa Torres filing the FRG fraud report even though it cost her friendships. Captain Hartley, building a legal case while I was falling apart. Rebecca Callahan, providing evidence even though it meant destroying her own marriage. And Kaylee, my 15-year-old daughter, hanging that deployment flag every single day. Clink, clink. The sound of someone refusing to give up. She showed up every day when no one asked her to, when it would have been easier to pretend everything was fine. That's what brothers in arms means. That's what family means. Not who you're born to, but who shows up when it matters. Marcus and Kaylee redefined what family means. Not who you're born to, but who shows up when it matters. If you've built your own chosen family, your own unit of people who'd go to war for you, tell me about them in the comments below. And if this story moved you, if you believe truth and honor still matter, subscribe. I tell stories about people who choose loyalty over convenience, truth over comfort. I'll see you in the next one.